Extra plays an island, Sam plays a swamp, John plays a brushland, and Tom plays a mountain. With that exciting start, Extra kicks off the game for real this time with a forest per turn into a Deep-Root Wayfinder. He passes to Sam. Sam plays a Plains and an Orzhov Signet, then passes. John plays a Yavimaya Cradle of Growth for turn. He natures lures into a Jetmir's Garden and hands it to Tom. Tom plays a Mountain and a Mind Stone, then hands it to Extra. Extra plays a Forest and casts Tideshaper, paying the kicker. It enters, turning Extra's untapped forest into an island. He then casts Mist-Cloaked Herald and moves to combat. He swings Deep-Root Wayfinder at Sam, who has no blocks. And on combat damage, surveils 1, choosing to put Bark Channel Pathway from the top into his yard, then returns it to the battlefield tap. Extra then passes the turn. Sam plays a Plains, then casts March of the Canonized for X equals 2, making 2 1/1 vampires with lifelink, before passing to John. John plays a Mountain, ramping growth into a Plains, then casts Siege Horn Ceratops. He passes to Tom. Tom plays a Mountain for turn, then casts his commander, Ojer Axonil. The turn then goes back to Extra. Extra starts off by casting his own commander, Hakbal, then goes directly to combat, triggering Hakbal's ability and letting each of his merfolks explore. Hakbal's explorers Forgotten About, Mist-Cloaked Herald, and Tideshaper each put a spell to the grave and get a 1/1 counter, while Deep-Root Wayfinder flips a land into Extra's hand. Extra then goes to attackers, swinging Mist-Cloaked Herald at Tom, Wayfinder at John, and Tideshaper at Sam. None of them declare any blocks, and Deep-Root Wayfinder whiffs the Surveil. In his second main, Extra plays a Forest for turn, then casts Hardened Scales. He passes to Sam. Sam plays a Shine Shadow Snarl, revealing a swamp to have it come in untapped. He casts Cleveleno, First of the Blessed, then goes to combat. Swing one of the vampire tokens at Extra, targeting it with Cleveleno's trigger ability. Extra takes the hit, and Sam gains 1, then he passes a turn to John. John plays a Spectre Seeding, then casts his own commander, Wayta. He follows her up with Brood Hatch Nantuko, before passing to Tom. Tom plays a Mountain, then casts Neheb the Eternal. He attacks Extra with Ojer Axonil, and Extra takes 4. In Tom's second main, Neheb adds 4 red to Tom's pool. Tom uses the mana to cast Sulfuric Vortex, then passes to Extra. On Extra's upkeep, Sulfuric Vortex deals 4 damage to him. He plays an island for turn, he casts Marrow Regery, then goes to combat. Hakbal triggers, and starts with his own Explorer, putting a spell to the yard and getting 2 1/1 counters. Then Mist-Cloaked Herald puts a land to Extra's hand, Wayfinder and Tideshaper do the same, while Marrow Regery puts a spell to the grave and gets 2 1/1 counters. Extra swings everything he can at Tom, triggering Hakbal's other ability, and he can put an island onto the field. Before damage, Extra flashes in Merfolk Trickster, tapping down Neheb and triggering his Marrow to untap one of his islands. In his second main, he casts 40 Ancestors, naming Merfolk. He looks at the top 6 cards of his library and reveals 1 Merfolk from among them, which is Zagana, Utopia Speaker, and puts it into his hand. He moves to his end step, at which point Sam casts Deadly Dispute, sacking his Cleveleno buffed vampire token, triggering its ability and making it tapped 4/3 demon and drawing a card, then drawing 2 and making a treasure with Deadly Dispute. The turn then moves to Sam. On Sam's upkeep, Sulfuric Vortex deals 4 damage to him. He plays a Swamp, then casts New Blood, tapping Cleveleno to take control of Neheb and making it a vampire. He swings his demon token at Extra and his remaining vampire token at Tom, triggering Cleveleno and targeting the vampire token. The damage goes through, and Sam gets an extra 5 red in a second main thanks to Neheb. He casts his commander, Carmen, followed by Demon's Disciple, forcing each player to sack a creature or planeswalker. In response, John activates Wayta and has his Ceratops and Nantuko fight each other, triggering both of his creatures twice to get a total of 4 1/1 counters on Ceratops and making 4 1/1 insect tokens with Nantuko. Demon's Disciple ability then resolves, and each player sacks. Thomas forces to sack his commander, who flips into a land, while Sam sacks his Vampire token, making another tapped 4/3 demon and drawing a card. Carmen also triggers 4 times, getting 4 1/1 counters. Sam then passes. On John's upkeep, he takes 2 damage from Sulfuric Vortex. He plays a Sunbaked Canyon for turn, he plays a Brash Taunter, then goes to combat, swinging his Ceratops at Tom, responding to his attack by activating Wayta and having his Ceratops fight Brash Taunter. Ceratops and Taunter both trigger twice, so Ceratops gets 4 more 1/1 counters, while Taunter deals a total of 12 damage to Tom directly. With no blocks available, Tom resigns himself to his fate and takes the lethal damage. Extra then goes to his turn. Extra plays a Vine Glimmer Snarl, revealing a forest from his hand. He casts Biden the Thassa. He goes to combat, triggering Hakbal. Hakbal's Explorer puts a spell to the grave, while the rest of the Merfolk flip a spell and keep it on top, so that each of Extra's Merfolk get 2 1/1 counters at the end. Extra then swings everything at John, choosing to draw with Hakbal's trigger. John blocks Hakbal with Brash Taunter, while 3 of his insects block Deeproot Wayfinder, Tide Shaper, and Marrow respectively. Brash Taunter triggers on taking damage, dealing 8 to Extra and 8 to Sam. And Extra's 1 unblocked Merfolk connects with John, letting Extra draw thanks to Biden the Thassa. Extra passes to Sam. On Sam's upkeep, March of the Canonized triggers, making a 4/3 demon. Sam casts Viscera Seer. He then casts Night's Whisper, drawing 2 and losing 2 life. He activates Viscera Seer, sacking Demon's Disciple to scry 1 and trigger Carmen, giving her a 1/1 counter and gaining 1 life. Sam then attacks Extra with everything he can, triggering Carmen and returning Demon's Disciple to the field. Disciple triggers, and each remaining player sacks a creature, giving Carmen 3 more 1/1 counters and letting Sam gain 3 life. Cloveleno also triggers an attack, targeting himself this time. Before damage, Extra stops Carmen in her tracks with a timely Pongify, and the rest of the creatures connect. In his second main, Sam plays a Swamp for turn, then passes. John plays a Forest for turn, then recasts Wayta. He passes, and on his end step, Extra casts an Inspiring Call, drawing 4. In response to the cast, John activates Wayta, making Taunter and Ceratops fight. With that on the stack, Sam uses Generous Gift to destroy the Ceratops before things get out of hand. The turn then moves to Extra. Extra plays an island, then casts Forerunner of the Heralds, putting Herald of Secret Streams on top of his library. He then casts Vodalian Hexcatcher, triggering Forerunner, which gets 2 1/1 counters thanks to Hardened Scales. Extra then moves to combat, triggering Hakbal. This time, each of his Merfolk keeps the Herald of Secret Streams on top and gets 2 1/1 counters. Extra then attacks John with Mistcloak and Sam with everything else. Hakbal triggers, and Extra decides to draw. Sam blocks Hakbal with his Beast, then the rest of his creatures hit. Biden triggers 3 times, while Wayfinder surveils 1 and puts an island from Extra's yard into play. Extra then casts Staff of Completion, then moves to his end step. In response to that, Sam sacks Cloveleno, making a tapped 4/3 demon and drawing, then scrying 1 with Viscera Seer. Sam then moves to his turn. Sam first plays a High Market, then goes to combat. He attacks Extra with 3 of his demons, while swinging the 4th one at John. Extra dies to combat damage, then Sam casts Elenda the Dusk Rose in his second main before passing. John starts by casting Zalto, Fire Giant Duke. He activates Wayta, making Zalto fight Brash Taunter. Taunter triggers, dealing 14 damage to Sam, which is enough to kill him, and let John walk away with the dub.